All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Monday Mindset with our at the Agent Collective and the Agent Power Huddle. Really excited to share this one with you today. This is one that's kind of really been on my spirit over the last month or so. It's kind of been a message that has been resonating around social media over probably the last month in regards to change, and we'll talk about that here in depth today because when I saw the quote, it's just a one line quote that really resonated with me, and I think is a powerful message for those that take the message and really just kind of take it into your spirit and understanding the power of number one, of change and also of choice. And we're at that time of the year where, again, we start thinking about what we are looking to do going into the new year. And when you think from a standpoint, the quote that I've been seeing is, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And when you look at it from that particular standpoint of realizing that if you're not evolving, if you're not changing, you're choosing to stay in the current place that you're in. Now, if you are a person that's looking to progress or you're goal oriented, not changing and being goal oriented, you can't do both. You have to be able to evolve. And I think when you look at the season that we're in fall, getting ready to go into the winter season. And this is something that happens every year. There are 4 seasons that change. Each one of them are unique and very different to the other. And understanding that it's a part of our nature because this is a part of progress, because you think of the things that if you look at trees and plants and flowers and things of that nature that change with those seasons, what happens to those trees over the course of time? They grow, they become bigger than where they were the previous season of fall, or the previous season of summer. And that's what we should be looking to be able to do as well. Understanding that the season that we're in, and think about it, if you're a summer person or if you're a spring person and we're in fall going into winter, this may not be your favorite season. May not be a season that you enjoy being in, but we also understand that spring is coming, summer is coming, and in this moment, it gives us an opportunity to become better. So when we get into the seasons that we enjoy, that we're in a better place. But also, just like that tree that grows, again, a tree cannot grow without having the 4 different seasons. You think about fall. What happens in fall? The leaves fall. I don't know if that's why they call it fall, but that's exactly what it does. So if you think about that from a standpoint of a tree, it's shedding the past, it's shedding what it grew in the spring and summer of 2024 and releasing it to be able to open up and be a part of what's coming in 2025. But it has to make space to be able to receive what's coming in 2025. So that, if you think from the standpoint of the tree and releases the leaves and then it goes through a hibernation period to a certain degree in the winter, and then all of a sudden we start to see the green leaves come back, and we see that the tree, the trunk has gotten wider, the branches has spread out further, and it's beginning to progress and grow. It's no different than what we experience in our own lives in regards to what it is that where we're trying to go in life. And we can't stay. Imagine if that tree said, you know what? I'm not going to let go of these leaves. I grew these amazing leaves in 2024, and here it is, it's fall, and I'm supposed to let these leaves go. I'm supposed to let them fall to the ground and die so that I could make space, but I'm going to hold on to these leaves, and I'm not going to change. well, chances are that tree would not be able to survive by doing so. Part of the reason you think about what happens, particularly in Denver, I can tell you in Denver, Colorado, a part of the reason I think trees are smart. I think they realize, okay, if we get heavy snow that comes down and I have all these leaves that I'm holding on to, my branches are going to break. My whole trunk may break in half because I can't bear the weight of the snow that's collecting on the leaves. But if I let these leaves go, and I'm able to now just have snow that's on the branches, on parts, certain parts of the tree, I can withstand the weight of the snow. So I bet you didn't think you were going to get this whole horticultural experience today, but I want you to think from a standpoint of that tree is you. Because again, when we're holding on to things from the past and we're letting that weight, that burden hold us down, it keeps us from being able to advance in the future. And so we have to be able to let things go. We have to be, open to the change, because otherwise that is what we're choosing, is to stay in the same place that we've been in for the previous year. And for many of us, I can tell you, there's been a lot of agents within my organization that have had a great deal of success this year. This being a pretty challenging year in real estate. We had the NAR settlement that really kind of, didn't really change a whole lot of things, but just the fear of the change that was coming created a lot of anxiety for people. And as we see, being about 6 weeks to 2 months in now, that change was not significant. A lot of things are pretty much the same. It's just the way we operate has changed a little bit. But the anxiety that was created around that, interest rates, the fact that we have more houses on the market than we necessarily have buyers. So if you have listings, they tend to sit a little bit longer. If you're working with buyers, they tend to look at more houses than they used to before. So it's taking longer to get buyers under contract. It's taking longer to get listings under contract. And that means it's taking longer to get to the closing table and to get checks and things of that nature and live. So that has created a great deal of anxiety for a lot of people. And so going into that, if you're holding on to that same anxiety and not asking yourself, what am I going to do? What am I going to do first for me to change in 2025 to make things better for myself? If you're not having those types of conversations with yourself, then you're choosing to stay stuck in 2024 from that standpoint. I want to just give you one analogy, and then after that, I'm going to give you some key steps of what you can do to really tap into the change. But I want you to think about, this morning you got up and you went to your closet to choose an outfit to wear for the day. And, when you were thinking about the outfit that you were choosing, did you pick an outfit that you said, oh, I know that's tight around the middle, or, I know that, my sleeves are short or my pants are short on that particular one. And that's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to feel all that great to wear that. No, you picked something that was comfortable. You picked something that you enjoy wearing. And we got to think about, the way we pick our outfit is how we pick how we're going to do life. We got to we got to pick those things. We have a choice to pick what it is that we're going to do today and every day and how we're going to live our life. So making that choice and making it where it's, you're not saying, oh, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm going to put it on anyway. I'm going to wear this anyway for my life. And I can tell you, when I was in the workforce and going to a job, I was in a place where I wasn't comfortable with what I was putting on for my life every day. And I worked around a lot of people that were uncomfortable. And I've learned that many people are uncomfortable with what they do in life. Now, when we're entrepreneurs and we're business owners, we definitely have a choice, and there should never be a standpoint of when we're in this place of being uncomfortable, and we're choosing to continue to be uncomfortable with it. So I want to give you a few key points that I've learned to use for myself. I think, number one, recognizing the need for change, having a sense of awareness. And this, I can tell you, one of the main things that this calls for is for you to get yourself into a quiet place, to be able to take time and really, take inventory of where things are at in your life. What is it that you're excited about, that's coming up? Or what are you excited about that's currently going on? What are the things that you are not necessarily excited about? What are the things that you feel like are holding you back to a certain degree, that are creating a level of discomfort or anxiety in your life? And then, being able to, and this is something that I would tell you when I'm talking about, sitting with yourself and having these thoughts, write down what you're coming up with, because you want to be able to not just think about it one time and move on. You want to actually be able to do something about it. And then spotting the patterns, identifying reoccurring issues in your life or business that keep happening. And those things that are happening that are from a negative sense, you have to ask yourself, okay, what steps do I need to take to be able to adjust this? We're always in a place of adjustment in everything that we do. I can tell you, if you think about, if you've been in real estate since 2020, you think about how you had to adjust to focusing on getting buyers. And there were a lot of people that were adjusting and focusing on getting listings because they knew listings would move very quickly. If you were focusing on buyers, you had to focus on ways to be able to help those buyers win the bid, because in most cases, there were going to be multiple offers. And then we had 2022 hit, and all of a sudden interest rates started going up. And we had to make an adjustment. We had, I started doing assumable loans. That was an adjustment for me. Right now, I'm working heavily in the new construction market, because there's an amazing opportunity for great interest rates for buyers. So I'm making adjustments all along the way. So you have to be able to, realize at every point, when something's not working, that means it's time to make an adjustment. I can tell you, I haven't been to a chiropractor in probably 2-3 years now, and I can feel it, and I have an appointment actually this week to make an adjustment on my spine and my skeletal parts of my body. And I can tell you, when I did this from a standpoint of doing it consistently, I just felt better. When I was, I would get a massage and a chiropractic adjustment typically at the same time. And you can't come out of an appointment like that feeling worse than where you were when you went in. You're just naturally going to feel better. And so it's about same thing in your business, in your life. You got to be able to make, those adjustments. And then what you're tolerating is the thing that's holding you back. So this is one of those things, like I said, I've seen it in the workforce, and I see it with entrepreneurs. I see it with people that are working for themselves. They're not necessarily happy where something is in their life at that moment, and they continue to tolerate it. Well, by doing so, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you in the same place. So you got to be able to, number one, realize that you're probably going to have to let go, just like those leaves we talked about. You're going to have to be able to let go. And then I think, another key point is understanding what's at stake here. One of the things I think, one of my favorite quotes by Buddha is, our biggest mistake is we think we have time. And what that means is tomorrow's not promised. And I think a lot of times we work from a standpoint of we have inaction in our life because we think that we can take our time to do certain things. And even if it's not, that something happens and you lose life, there could be something happens that abruptly changes life, where again, you're not even though you're here, you're not able to do the things that have been putting off to be able to get done. So understanding, what's at stake and again, whether it's you're doing it for your family, you're doing it to impact other people, you always have to, once again, take inventory of what's at stake in this moment. And that's really tied to your why and your purpose of why you're doing things. And then you got to evaluate the cost of inaction. What I mean by that is, having missed opportunities or having things that what's number one, what's causing you to have the inaction? And then what is it costing you? What are you losing by not taking action during those times? I can tell you for me, I have those moments of, going through having multiple things go on. And if I don't take action on a certain area, I feel like I'm behind. I feel like I'm losing ground. So there's a balancing act that in many cases that I will go through. Another key point on that, visualizing how your life will look if you don't make changes. And this is something, this is how I cope with fear of going after something that I really want is, because I think the biggest obstacle, the biggest challenge that we all have is facing our fears, fear and doubt. And what I mean by that is when there's something that you want to go, you have a big dream, you have a goal for yourself, you've never done it before. Well, it's naturally going to come with fear. It's naturally going to create doubt of if you can even do it. But how I've worked with that is I've kept myself in a place of, okay, well, I know where I'm at right now. I have a greater fear of staying here and not and saying, what if down the road, what if a year, 2 years, 10 years later, I have a bigger fear of that than I do of going after whatever this thing is that I'm trying to attain. So again, putting yourself in that place and really looking at the current situation, and your fear should be staying in the same place versus going to the unknown, and just realizing that everything that you want is going to be through that original fear of trying to achieve something that you've never done before. To acknowledge that just went through that one. Shift from blaming external circumstances and taking personal responsibility. This is one for me that I've had this actually within my team over the last few weeks. And I see it all the time. And this is something that we individually, we have to be conscious of. And it's easy to blame other things or other circumstances for why we're not achieving the goals that we're looking to achieve, instead of taking our own responsibility. And for me, when, I do an accountability training, and one of the things that I want to show there is because it's a group of people. And when I can show a group of people and everyone is given the same information, everyone is given the same task, but the results are different, a big part of that is because of the actions that you're taking. Now, and I always say that, actions have to be combined with belief, and there has to be an unwavering faith in whatever it is that you're trying to do. And when you can put unwavering faith and along with action, you're going to have successful results. And so I can always measure where someone is. It's either, if they're taking little action, it's because they have little belief. And so again, this is how, when I'm reaching out to people within the group and I see where the scores are, I know that a part of it is because of Sometimes the action can be, you just don't have time, but a lot of times the action is just because of your level of belief. How do I know this? Because this is what I experience for myself. And when I started doing personal development and started building my belief, it opened doors for me that I thought were locked, that I didn't think that I could go through because I was too fearful and didn't believe I was worthy of going through the door. But then I started kicking the doors open in that instance because of the heightened belief. So I was taking the action that it was necessary to be able to have success. Um, the next area, change requires action. And even small, consistent steps can lead to significant transformation. So I think this is the big thing. A lot of times we're looking to make changes in our life that are massive, and they're when they're big changes that we're looking to make, it can be very intimidating. It can be overwhelming. But we have to understand that we're not going to make that change overnight. So it comes down to breaking it down to small, manageable pieces that you are consistently doing day after day after day. And as you continue to do those small steps and small changes, you look out over the course of, you look back over a month, you look back over 90 days, you look back over a year, and you realize, man, I was here, a month ago, or I was here a year ago, and now I got here. It's just like, again, when you see a child growing, if it's your child and you see that child every day, you don't see the growth. But if someone like a parent or a grandparent or a family friend, they saw the child 6 months ago and now they see them today and they're like, wow, you got so much bigger. And it's because, again, the small manageable pieces, you're not going to see it. But when you write it down and you write down, if you journal in regards to where you are today, and then you look at that 6 months down the road, you're going to see, man, not only have I progressed, I'm a different person than who I was 6 months ago, because the key was small, manageable pieces that you stayed with it consistently. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have, because, again, we have New Year's coming up. We have New Year's resolutions that people are going to make. And I always say New Year's resolutions are like rules. They're made to be broken because they always are. Most people, I think they say it's about 87% of people had given up on their New Year's resolution by February 15th. So 6 weeks in, they've already given up on the goals and the resolutions that they set for themselves because the lack of consistency. And again, I think, we live in a society where if we say we want to make change and we want to do something, we do expect it to happen a lot faster than reality is going to let it allow it to happen. So if you make the goal and you make those, those changes, think about this. If you set a 90-day goal for yourself and you go through that whole 90 days, and let's say the goal was to make $20,000 a month in real estate. And when you started the goal, you were only making, say, $5,000 a month. You were doing one deal a month in real estate, let's say, and you were getting about $5,000. But you want to be at where you're making $20,000 a month consistently in 90 days. And 90 days comes and you're at 12,000. You're consistently, when you average out your 90 days, you're at about $12,000 a month. Well, a lot of times people will look at that as they failed. They didn't hit the 20,000. But guess what? You did 7,000 more than you were doing on average previously. So there was growth, but in a short period of time. So what that should tell you is that if you continue to do the things that got you up 7,000 within the next 90 days, or maybe the following 90 days after that, you will be at the 20,000. It's the small, manageable steps that you're doing consistently that are going to ultimately get you to your goal. So really kind of focusing on that for yourself, I think, is going to be paramount because the consistency aspect, that's where a lot of people lose sight of what it is that they're trying to do. And that's why you have, that February 15th date of, so many people giving up on their resolutions. I'm going to go back to one of the things that I talked about a minute ago, overcoming fear and resistance. You got to understand that, number one, the fear, like I said, for me, I combat fear by looking at the other side of fear, the fear of where I'm currently at. I'm more afraid of staying where I'm currently at than where it is that I'm trying to go. The resistance, this is, the part where, okay, they say the struggle is real. Well, it's supposed to be. All right. You think about it. If you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, the whole purpose of lifting weights is to take your muscles to muscle failure. Because why? Because it's through muscle failure that after what you're doing to the nutrition that you're giving your body that helps the muscle to grow and become stronger. So when we go to the gym, we have an intent to create resistance to the muscle, to push up weight that's heavier than what we're normally used to pushing up. And to create that resistance it's a part of the process of growth. So you have to think about that same thing in your business. When you're coming up against resistance, when you're coming up against challenge and struggle, it's a part of the growth. And you have to be able to break through that to be able to take, your business, your life, whatever it is, to the next level. So, overcoming the fear and the resistance, the easiest way is to embrace it. Just understand it's a part of the process, and you got to be able to take all of that in. All right. Sustaining and scaling positive changes. So one of the things that, we talked about the consistency aspect of it. So once you start to see the positive steps that you're doing, number one, don't step back and kind of take a look and get excited and stop what you're doing. This is the time to, number one, stay consistent and continue to move in that direction. And then look at the ways that you're able to scale your business. What I mean by that is, are there different things that you can do to leverage your time to be able to do more of what you've already been doing? Because if you're able to find ways to leverage your time, then what's going to happen, if you're doing more, then your results are going to come faster for you. So again, these are just some of the key steps that, like I said, I've been using. I've thought about this whole this quote that I've seen on social media the last month. And I really, it was something that I want to share, to be able to say, these are the areas where we're changing. Because it's easy to say the quote, what you're not changing, you're choosing, but then what? So I wanted to be able to give you some skills, some things that you're able to use to be aware of what changes need to be made, and then take action on those changes, and then be consistent and have the proper mindset to know that every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be seasons that you go through this process that are going to help you to grow and become, that tall, strong oak tree in your business, in your relationships, in your health, whatever it is that you're looking to you're looking to change for yourself. So hopefully this was all helpful to you. I look forward to seeing you guys. I think I'll be on in December on 2 different times. We'll continue to kind of elaborate on this. At the end of the year, I like to really tap into these types of trainings, preparing each of us for 2025. So have a great rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. And if I don't see you, happy Thanksgiving.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.